Hello, and welcome to On Point. Murals like this one breathe life into a community.
But can one actually own this mural? NFTs have made it possible.
Digital art pieces have changed the world as we know it. Millions upon millions of dollars are being spent to own a JPEG image, a file that can be anything from a baseball card to a concert ticket to even a photo of a mural like this one. On an NFT market, these files seemingly hold as much value as some of the world's most famous art pieces. In 2020, Bredahl says NFT sales totaled less than $100 million. Last year, sales skyrocketed to $24 billion.
But there's so many unanswered questions about NFTs, to possible money laundering, to people downloading and claiming as their own, to just the question of, is this just getting the rich richer? Today on Point, what are NFTs? Why should we care? Are they good for the society and economy? On Point, Sophia Bredahl has more.
Thank you, Daniel. So with us are two guests, Adrian Swish, the founder of Digital Currency Inc. Adrian, you first got into NFTs in 2017, and now you advise about NFT projects with the focus in music business. Our other guest is John Healey, utility journalism senior editor at LA Times. And earlier this month, you wrote the article, Why Are Celebrities Buying $1 Million Ape Cartoons? NFTs Explained.
Yes,
Welcome.
I kind of wish Adrian had written that now that I hear that he's been in it since 2017.
Well, I've been in Web3 and cryptocurrency since 2017, NFTs more specifically in 2020.
Thank you both for coming and being here with us. So, like we just said, NFTs have been around for a little while, but still it can seem kind of abstract to people to fully understand what is this NFT concept, like how does it fit in with like cryptocurrency and now like the metaverse. So just to like understand this a little bit more, what is like an NFT, how does it work and fit in the crypto landscape, so to say? John?
I would say that you have to think about NFTs more about what they're not than what they are, because it could be any number of things, but basically what the role that they're playing is to provide something that's akin to a receipt or a certificate of authenticity, usually for a digital asset, but increasingly for physical assets. So if you want to create a record that cannot be changed and it's going to be preserved through history, an NFT is a good way to do that.
And I mean, I think some of us know it as like more of just like a piece of digital art, which can seem a little weird, like a JPEG file. Adrian, what do you look for when buying this art?
To me, it's more than art. First, I look for the people behind the project. And first off, what is the project about, right? So I'm going to look for the team. Some of the popular projects are people are hiding their identity. So I'm not really a fan of that because I feel like if you're providing the value that you say you are in this project, then you should reveal who you are. Most credible projects usually have people of credibility in their field. So I look for that as well. I look for strong community support. I'll check out their Discord if there is a strong active communication from different members. Some legit projects usually have a bot meter at the top that'll tell you how many members are in your Discord versus how many bots, just so you can keep an honest gauge of the activity in there. And after that, I look for the utility. What am I getting from this NFT? If I'm supporting your project or your design or your art, what am I getting from that? And is there a charity involved? So I look for those things.
Okay.
Adrian, do you also care whether the NFT is part of a royalty stream? In other words, that if it gets resold, some portion of the sales go back to the original?
Oh yes, 100%. And I forgot to mention that that's one of the most important parts is the perpetuity. For me, I feel like that secondary market is very valuable because you can earn extra income just by having your art, and offering the utility will increase the value of that secondary market.
So that means that some pieces don't have this royalty feature. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yep.
Okay. That is something the seller chooses, or?
It also
Yeah.
depends on which blockchain they're on, because
Okay.
originally all these things were on Ethereum, and Ethereum wasn't supporting it at the time. I mean, they've come up with ways to do it now, so you just have to check.
Yeah, and there's several newer blockchains like Tezos and Solana, which are proving to be faster gassing, faster minting times, and the technology is improving. I feel like every day, to be honest.
Fees are an important part of that too. So if you're thinking about the appeal of some of these things, you have to factor in how much is it going to cost just in sort of wasted friction, like the gas fees, in order to make this transaction.
If you're interested in buying an NFT, you definitely want to anticipate around $150 to spend, and I guess you would call tax or the network fee is what they call it. That's typically the gas, and that's just to make the transaction approve on the network.
Yeah, and we actually spoke to Diego Martinez, who collects NFTs, so I will play you a little clip of what he had to say about what to look for.
Way to verify if an NFT is real is to be involved in the community, in the discords and whatnot. The people who actually, the Twitters of the Twitter handles of the people who actually create the projects, and looking, at their verified, the verified name of the NFT project. But to verify it even further, you're gonna want to go to that creator's Twitter or their Discord or wherever they are on social media, and just 100% verify.
So that sounds like it aligns a little bit with what you said, Adrian.
And he's also raising a very interesting point about there's a disparity between the creators and minters in a lot of cases. So the people, if you look at something like Bored Ape Yacht Club, they hired people to do those drawings. Those people got paid a fixed fee. They're not getting rich off this stuff. Somebody else is getting rich off this stuff.
So NFTs are part of the metaverse, right? And it's like, so it can be hard to comprehend. Like, is this metaverse going to be like a new kind of virtual reality? Are we all eventually going to be not forced in there, but be part of it? As it like, is it going to be our reality, so to say?
Well, essentially, we're already in the metaverse, right?
Okay.
Popular games like Roblox, Minecraft, those are essentially metaverses, and those games are NFTs, and you can actually buy real in-game assets on those. So those would be, I guess, the very basic level of metaverse right now. And my 9-year-old son is a big fan of those platforms too. So that actually helped my learning curve with understanding the metaverse and NFTs as well.
I think you can also look at metaverse as sort of a branding of living a more virtual life. And there are some people who do that through Facebook and Twitter. They're so immersed there, they conduct so much of their life there, that just because it's in 2 dimensions, it doesn't mean it's not really the metaverse for them already.
Right, and like the Oculus is a metaverse as well. Mm-hmm. That's one of the most popular items. And the metaverse is not essentially a place, right? Like there's several different metaverses per se. It's really just choosing which metaverse is for you, how you want to communicate essentially, and building out your avatar. And the NFTs are essentially avatars as well. And it's endless to what you can do. It's in the metaverse. People are having, like John said, people are having second lives. People are actually buying real estate in the metaverse too, which is digital land, and actually leasing it out. I know companies that are having real meetings in the metaverse too, just to onboard their staff, just to show them, hey, we're going to get ahead of this technology early. And you can also advertise in the metaverse too. There's you can create your own gallery. You can build out any aesthetic or landscape that you want. I look at it like the Industrial Revolution, right? Like you have this new set of technology, and everyone's racing to redefine their industries with this new technology.
Which is
And
why you have to keep a very broad view
Yeah.
of what NFTs mean, what Web3 means. On a very surface level, an NFT is something stored somewhere, or it's a pointer to something stored somewhere. But we look at it as art only because that was the first iteration. It could be anything.
so with this being like this parallel kind of universe, maybe we should talk a little bit about how is all this regulated. And I want to play you, this clip of Diego Martinez. He had something to say about someone he knows.
I know a friend of mine has made thousands of dollars, basically copying NFT projects and then reselling them as his own, tricking people into thinking it's the original NFT project, getting them for a cheaper price, and then making money like that. And there's nobody to stop him from doing that.
And that's not true. That's
Okay.
that's straight up fraud.
Yeah, because it
So-
sounds like it, and this is obviously just one side of it, but there's obviously other aspects of like using crypto and NFT. Could you be using it as payment? Could you go around a system? Is there people making sure that you're not doing that, and so on?
Technically, it's unregulated. It's the wild, wild west. We're still figuring out, but there are ways to trace the way the wallets move, where the money is moving in the wallets, and to trace how much money is in the wallet as well. So again, like, that's definitely fraud. But again, like, if you're reading, if you're doing your due diligence and reading the story on the team and the actual community, then you'll be able to figure those projects out. But you can't really combat just the average person who sees like, oh, I should get into NFT, and I see this NFT that looks like a popular NFT. I get it. And I guess that would be your first introduction into Web3. So if you haven't been scammed, if you know what I mean, I feel like you're not really in it, because I've been scammed. And that's just real.
You live and
And I-
learn. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's a really good point. And it's interesting to me that people talk about regulation as if it's something that's not happening, when really it's about people not being willing to take the steps they need to do to enforce their rights. For example, there are plenty of stories about what they call rug pulls in NFTs, where somebody will start a project saying, we're going to do X, Y, and Z in the NFT space. We're going to have these avatars or these JPEGs or these images, whatever. And we're going to promote them. We're going to get a community around them, and they'll assemble the Discord. They'll get it all started. They'll take the money. The initial ones will be minted, and then they'll disappear, right? That is straight up fraud. And it doesn't take a special regulator to stop that. What you need regulation for, and something that doesn't exist today, is when somebody says, if you buy my NFTs, I promise you are going to make 10x your money. Right? That is a form of communications that in the securities world is regulated. You cannot make promises like that about a publicly traded stock. Now, you can do it about your cyber currency, your cryptocurrency. You can do it about your NFTs. So is that some place where we could have new regulation? Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time.
As
Maybe
these
it'll
other
come.
things that are just straight up fraud, it's a matter of somebody saying, I'm going to take these people to court.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll see more of that as we continue down this road, right? And I think we briefly mentioned it, that NFT becomes maybe interesting when it's connected to real items and or like products. I think one of you said real estate, right? And Martinez also had a good point about that, I believe.
Like at this point is like art, it's a JPEG. You buy it and you own this digital art. But in the future, it could be a whole lot more things. Like you could put your house up on an NFT instead of going through a realtor now, and like the whole escrow process, and having to deal with different contracts and months of waiting to sell your house. You could put your house up. Now all of a sudden somebody buys your house as an NFT.
So how would that work? It seems a little
Well,
abstract.
the NFT would be backed by the physical asset. So obviously the seller of the house would agree to, hey, okay, I'm agreeing to put my house on the market as this NFT for this value, and anyone with the funds or the requirements can purchase it. So yeah, he's not lying. And there's companies that's already doing that now, with not only real estate, with pretty much everything.
Yeah, I know Kevin or Larry that you might know from Shark Tank has also made his point about how NFTs are really going to be interesting and be bigger than Bitcoin even because they have this aspect of being connected to products, and you can verify that you have a real watch or you have a real, whatnot.
I wouldn't say it'll be bigger than Bitcoin, but I hear what he's saying, but Bitcoin is definitely the OG. It's the original cryptocurrency. It was the example that we have today, and some of the experts are predicting in 10 years that one full Bitcoin will be up to $100 million. So who knows?
Yeah, so how is this going to affect society and the economy? It sounds so great. You can make so much money on it, but what is the downside? Is this really, are we going to improve society by doing all this, John?
Well, you can't make something out of nothing. At some point, you run out of people who are willing to pay you more than what you paid for something if there isn't a tangible physical value to it. But one thing that I'm really interested in is how NFTs open markets for people. And I'd love to hear Adrian talk a little bit more about what he's doing with music, because there's the possibility here for people, musicians, to go directly to the public with products that they haven't been able to sell before. For example, you could sell a portion of your royalty stream. You could sell a tiny bit of your songwriting credit. You can do things like that through NFTs that you can't possibly do otherwise.
Right. And so with my project, being a talent manager for over 12 years, I wanted to offer things that I had in my repertoire that I can provide value to a new artist. So in my project, there's 20 instrumental tracks of different genres, and we have different tiers and different values. We're on the Polygon network for blockchain. I chose that because it has a low carbon fiber print, which basically means it's less computers working to make it work. And I should have chosen Ethereum, big picture, because it's the more popular one, in the sense that more people have Ethereum, have more access to Ethereum. But the education, as far as the barrier of the bridge from Polygon to Ethereum is pretty difficult for the average person. So I'm trying to figure out how to communicate that better to the masses. But with my project, I'm offering several utility like studio time from 2 to 4 hours, music video shoots, photo shoots, marketing plans with advertising budgets. We're offering metaverse avatars so they can start creating what their character is going to look like in the metaverse. And also with the merchandise that we're offering, you'll be able to have a digital version of that as well. So
have you thought about offering stems and maybe even beats with the copyrights so that people could, use them for their own tracks?
So yes. So for this project, no. But what we did is we gave ownership for each track. So the first tier, it's 0.02%. Second tier is 0.04%. And the third tier is 1% of the streaming royalty. So the fans or the purchasers of these NFTs can participate in the payouts of Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal. So that gives the fan incentive to stream the music and participate in the whole ecosystem. And also, so the charity component, I aligned with the Future of Technology, and they're based out of North Carolina. And I thought their mission was cool because they donate computers and physical hardware technology to families in underprivileged areas and students that don't have the money for the tech, that are asking for the tech. And growing up, I didn't have the access to the tech, but I was always interested in it too. So what I've learned is, being a manager for several years, as long as you're providing tools to bright minds, they're going to pick it up fast. So Yeah.
Nice.
So with my music NFT, I want to offer education and real things that an artist or a musician would need to advance their career. Or if they're smart, they would see it as a networking tool to meet me and to see how I can help further them evaluate their career or whatever. So there's a lot of ways you can look at it. And also, most importantly, for college students and athletes, um, you don't really have a chance to make money if you're playing sports because most of your time is dedicated to sports. So now that the law is saying you can get paid on your likeness, every player should have a jersey or a PFP or something that represents them or their brand to get paid. And if you can deliver it in a creative way, which I feel like the youth has the better advantage of doing, you can make income. It's more than just making money. You can make an impact. You can build a career. You can take care of your family. You can do a lot of things.
That's great. I like the charity part of it, that you're helping a community and you can donate through this. So what is the future gonna be? What does it look like for NFTs and the metaverse? What can we expect? What do you think, John?
There's a lot of different ways it could go. And one of the problems right now is there is too many people losing money, too many scams, too much fraud.
Mm-hmm.
That's grabbing the headlines and I think deterring people from getting in. I also think that there's a lot of imagination that is still to be applied to this. And that I think is going to be when it gets really interesting. When you go from easily copyable JPEGs being sold for 1,000 to 10,000 or whatever, to something where adding authenticity to it really adds value. And what that looks like, I don't know. I don't have the imagination for it, but there are people out there who do.
Like he said, it's endless, and it's the imagination can only imagine where it's going to go. But the next phase is Web 4, and that's artificial intelligence. In my opinion, I feel like it's the reality of how the humans are dealing with the artificial intelligence after we created it. And so I feel like that's the challenge going forward, but it's also a good challenge because you can do so much to create these things and whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, literally, it's endless.
Yeah, I mean, virtual reality like that, like you're saying, that's the next thing, or maybe we're already there, but that can seem a little scary to people, no?
It could, depending on how you take it. But again, like it's happening whether we like it or not. So the more we can just understand it and educate ourselves on how to adjust and to live with it, and outside of that, how to use it as an advantage.
So it all depends on the application, right? When you think about using avatars in a Zoom meeting instead of yourself, who really wants to do that? I mean, that's not a great leap forward. But when you think about avatars in a setting where you're learning how to use a machine, where somebody is teaching you something that you need to know in order to get something done, that's a lot more interesting. So it really depends on people coming up with the next level of application as opposed to the first thing that they can think of. To use a vegan example, right?
Yeah.
If you become a vegan, in order to have vegan sausages or vegan pulled pork, you're kind of missing the point, right? That's not showing off what you can do when you take meat out of the equation, right? You're trying to replicate what you do already. And so if you use NFTs and AI and Web3 to replicate what you do already, where's the excitement? What's the point?
Yeah, so this really does come down to creativity, you're saying, and maybe this is something, like you said, Adrian, that young people should jump on the train, so to say, no?
Not
Is that
necessarily
the
jump on the train. Educate yourself and then
Yeah.
figure out how you can maximize with the understanding and the technology,
Okay.
and see how you can help create change in industry. Like, think bigger than just trying to make money. Try to make an impact in society. Seriously,
Okay.
that's what technology is for.
Perfect. Thank you so much both for joining us. You're watching On Point. We'll be right back.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I guess I have really been looking for love in this dating app. Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can hear us on KCSN 88.5 FM on Sunday mornings at 5:30. You can watch us on LA 36 and Santa Clarita Valley Television. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Daniel Sandoval.